And it's all coming down to the roll of the dice.
That could not have worked out any worse for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've discussed this before. Tonight's the night. Welcome to another edition of Soarin and Scratchin. As I said, we have discussed this coming for quite some time. And tonight, it happens. I'm Evil Chicken. My partner in crime?
I am the Eagle fan. Yes, we have. We have been discussing this. This is our first. So remember where you were when you saw our first debate series. This is going to be an interesting style of debate. It's not just me debating him, which it will be, but it's not about how we actually feel about any of these topics. We are coming up with topics. I came up with this first one. He will come up with the second debate topic. And then we are actually going to randomly, and I have brought up a random.org dice rolling, which will then tell us odds versus evens on who gets which side, and then prepare for our debate. We will each have opening statements. Then there will be 2 rounds where we will each make a point or even series of points. Each person will then have a chance to rebut those points and then make their own. 2 rounds just like that. And then a closing argument. Now,
Yes.
Who will win this debate? That is up to the good people out there. Let us know in the comments who you think won that debate and why. Now, I'll give you a hint on this first one. I know who's going to win this debate, regardless of which side we get. Even though I picked this topic, I am very much outgunned on knowledge for either side. But I'm being evil here. I'm doing the typical evil friend thing. I just wanted to see him have to debate against the other side. This is going to be, it would be Nanowar of Steel, but you've already seen that video. I grabbed the wrong title there. This is Star Wars versus Star Trek. Which
Dave, you're
is
cutting
better?
me to the quick. You are cutting me to the quick. This is unfair. This is one of the quintessential geek arguments. You fella.
Well, it's time for you to take a side. You've been on the fence on this argument, I believe.
Oh, good God. Oh, good God. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. And it's all coming down to the roll of the dice.
Yes, it is.
Dave, should you roll the bones and see how this is going to progress?
Well, first, let's let everybody know how that adds up here. Sorry, let me unlock my phone again here. It will be odds. Mr. Evil Chicken will argue in favor of Star Wars.
Wow.
Evens, I will argue in favor of Star Wars. So, are we ready? Are you prepared for this,
Roll the
sir?
bones, Dave.
Okay.
Roll the bones.
Oh, sorry, it took a moment there.
Okay.
Okay. This is
odds it is. So I'm defending Star Wars, you say?
You're defending Star Wars. I'm defending Star Trek. That could not have worked out any worse for me. I would have had a better chance with Star Wars.
Oh,
So, we
yes.
will take a moment here and we'll discuss things while we think of our opening arguments.
Okay.
And it probably would have helped if we went over this. I will give my opening argument first.
Okay.
You can then give yours. I'll give my set of points for that first round first,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll give your set of points for the first round. Second round, you can do yours first, then I'll
Okay.
do mine. Closing arguments, you can do yours first. So that way we each go first on a closing and an opening, and we each go first on one of the two rounds.
Fair enough. Okay. All right.
Okay. Okay. Now you see, we don't have a clock. This is our first test here to see if we can get away without needing a clock. Can we be any better than those politicians debating, or will we be here for 3 hours?
All right. Welcome to the grand experiment. Okay.
Okay. I will start out to let you know why Star Trek. Wow, it hurts even saying that. Is better than Star Wars. Star Trek has been around for, now you probably know the exact amount of time, but it's been around for
54,
40, 50,
54 years.
okay, 54 years. Thank you. It has been around much longer. It has changed with time. It has not just been one universe. It has changed over time. There have been multiple series. Yes, some good, some not so good. But the entire idea of that universe has slowly changed with it, but in a way that makes sense. There hasn't been insane changes from one to the next. It seems to be a gradual evolvement of the universe. That universe is based upon technology which some, dare I say, has already come true. Others are things that may make the world better if they were able to come true. While the other side is just Dungeons and Dragons in space. So I rest my opening argument.
Wow. Oh, wow. Well, it may please the court that fate, or perhaps the force, even has intervened, and I have been cast in the role to defend Star Wars against Star Trek. Both are noble. Um, I cannot stress that more. Um, Star Wars, however, has a heart to it. A heart that has lit up generations of filmgoers, sparked the imaginations of people to progress further. I know artists, and there have been scientists and doctors who have seen Star Wars, and it changed their life, changed mine. When I saw Star Wars in 77, I knew that I wanted to tell stories in some way. I remember the lines waiting around. So I'm OG, I'm first generation. The lines around the theater, and I waited in those lines for the magic that was going to be bestowed before me. So I believe that it has not just heart, but it has hope. And as some characters have said, revolutions are built on hope. And that is something that's a very powerful and positive message. I think of Luke Skywalker in episode 4 as he is staring out at those twin suns on Tatooine. And when he's there, he's not just a farm boy on Tatooine. He is every person in that audience of a certain age. Because a bunch of kids, we don't know what our future is going to be. And there's so many forces at work, both spiritual and political. I mean, there's an autocratic society that needs to maybe have somebody to stand up to it, to make a difference in the world. And that's exactly what Luke does. The Force itself also teaches us that there's something out there that's a little bit greater than we are. And the idea that it can be used as a tool for good or a tool for bad. Um, and I think that comes down to another basic point, and that's the idea that tools can be used for either good or bad. Um, it's up to how the individual wields it in the heart of the person, the good and the bad, the Jedi and the Sith. So, those are my opening arguments.
Okay, thank you, sir. Very interesting. Now, as I formulate my ideas, my points for my opening salvo,
Yes, yes.
I just wanted to say very well done.
Oh, right back at you.
Okay, now the next part of this debate will be me giving a set of points. As you see, we're still very loose on this. We haven't come up with exact number of points, exact rules,
It's all good.
but we want to keep it within reason.
Work in progress.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I will give my points. He will then rebut only those points that I addressed. When he's done that, he will then give his points, and I will rebut only those points. And we will stick to the points. We will try not to be politicians here. Okay.
We're better than that.
First, as I said, well done, sir. Sounded just like a dungeon master setting up the fantasy land, which is that of Star Wars. Star Trek tends to be more based upon not just hope, but exploration. Something that is real. Something that is real to man. We explore. We go out to the moon. We just put another rover on Mars. We explore. It's about exploring, finding new races, finding new planets, discovering them, following the prime directive of only observing and not interfering. It's not a story of a terrorist group who blows up a government base in an attempt to take control, and then apparently takes control and yet is still seen as the underdog instead of the overlord oppressors which they had become, and instead try to quell anyone who had a thought against them by a mystical, magical way. Star Trek is about logic. It's about outthinking your opponents. It's about seeing what's in front of you and coming up with the best solution. Not about relying on some hidden magical force which is still unclear how that is even generated and who really does or doesn't have the ability. Apparently, there is one family that is really just running amok upon the universe, trying to destroy anything that gets between them. That's not the case here. Yes, there are enemies, but much like on Earth, there are enemies. There are enemies, and it's about finding a way and a common ground by using your mind and negotiating, not about this mystical, magical force. I turn it over to you for rebuttal, sir.
Well, fair enough. I humbly suggest and propose rather, that mystical magical forces routinely hold the universe together, the world together. Let's talk about stories. Stories truly make the world go round. Um, one such story, of course, is the, the pantheon of Star Wars mythos. Um, it reminds me of a quote from Neil Gaiman that I hope I can recall and precisely, but it's basically the idea that dragons don't exist just to show that there are dragons there. Dragons exist in stories to show that they can be beaten. The purpose of the story of Star Wars is to show that yes, bad things can happen, but they can also be overcome. Overcome with a few good friends, overcome with people that work together from a teeming galaxy of different races and creeds. Um, People working together to overthrow an autocratic government, to reinstall a new republic. Um, it's important that we have these things called stories, these little pieces of magic, because stories do make the world go round. You might consider that to sound cliche, but the fact of the matter is, we get up in the morning believing the story that we're going to have be able to get a cup of coffee, get out the door, and get to work. And most of the time, that story comes true. But sometimes that story doesn't. There's a little plot twist here and there. And we have to recalculate ourselves to tell a different story, a different narrative. The importance of Star Wars is that it shows that not only the correct dragon can be defeated, but we can do it. Even if you're just a lone farm boy from a nowhere planet, you can change the universe with a proton torpedo in the right place. uh, so there we are.
Okay, so that's your rebuttal.
Yes.
Okay. Boy, I've got things I'd like to respond, but I'll bring that up in my next set of points. Now,
Yes.
it's your turn for your first set of points.
Points against Star Trek?
This is your points to make your argument however you would like.
Oh. Let's go back to the concept of hope. Um, I think that that's another thing. Hope of the sentient being's spirit. The concept that we want to throw off that yoke of oppression and hope for better days. And that's another thing that's near and dear, close to the heart of Star Wars. So I think that it's not just it's not just about how many explosions you can get onto a screen. It has to have something. It has to have that heart that we had talked about before in my first set of points. There's heart, there's hope, and there's heroism. We like the idea that people can rise up and be better than what they consider themselves to be. Um, Star Wars is a unique story. Well, actually, it's a unique story that gets retold and retold and retold every generation. It probably goes back to when we were sitting around campfires. That's the power of story. It's the power of myth, to quote Joseph Campbell. But so I hope that it's understood that hope is very important in the Star Wars universe. The idea that um, things can get better, but there's going to be some problems in between to get there. But there we are, Dave. What do you got?
Okay. Very interesting. Apparently,
Yes.
now you've talked about this diverse set of characters
Yes.
having this hope and heart, but yet they're all basically humans. The other characters you see, I don't see hope and heart there. They seem to be just trivial props in a bar or on a planet that really have very little effect upon the story. And I don't see them in any desperation, losing hope, losing heart. It seems to be more just this select group of people, dare I say, terrorists, who are intent on overthrowing the government, as opposed to many of those on those planets who are just living their life now, regardless of what's happening with said government. So I don't see that necessarily as hope. Now, Star Trek is hope. It is exploring the universe, going beyond just this little area that one bad government is located in. Yes, there are many bad races that are discovered in Star Trek, but it's not an obsession over one or the other or the other. It's a matter of exploring. They're going out and they're exploring. That's ultimate hope, not just trying to be a terrorist or a person with a lucky shot because of some weird defect in said government's building. This is, I mean, you don't think about the hope of all the people who are just workers on that station, on that Death Star, who were then killed. They were just there living their lives, and they have no hope or heart now. But again, Star Trek, you're exploring, going where no man has gone before, out farther into the stars, learning what else is out there, not trying to overthrow governments in a planet they just discovered, but learning about them. Having hope, giving them hope, allowing them to see what else could happen as they grow, as they evolve, learn better technology, use that technology for good, not just terrorist plots. So that is my rebuttal upon that, sir. Now, we finished our first round. We didn't include this in the stipulation, so I won't say it, even though the way you brought that up after that last one sounded like it would have been a good idea if we said first round is, say, positive towards you, second round is, what's wrong with the other idea. But we're going to go with just the same idea. You can make follow up points now, and then I will rebut, make my follow up points, you rebut, and then you have your closing remarks, and I have mine. So it's
Okay. So
in your court.
just a point of order.
Okay.
Um, just a point of order. Is it okay if I discuss what you just discussed, your points?
Yeah. Yeah, that is fine. These are your
Okay.
points as you see fit, and then in my rebut of those points, I can then rebut whatever points you say here.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, I'm not going to disagree with you. Star Trek is wonderful. However, I am going to say this: Star Wars. Um, it seems that, while your arguments are very, very well said, very well pointed out, very well reasoned, it seems like you just stick with episode four. Episode four is a great episode. I can understand um, why you would, because it's like I said, for myself and for generations of people, it's life changing. Um, but when it comes to just like a bunch of space humanoid, let's be honest, a lot of white people running around. Um, there's that's just for the Skywalker kind of storyline, but there's a lot going on. I mean, the people who run the Jedi Council, there's I think two humans on it, but they weren't on at the same time. I mean, you have uh, Cal Plune, Kit Fisto, Master Yoda. These guys are part of that whole um, galaxy teeming with life, and they're these are master Jedi's. These are the guys and women that sort of motivate the entire, hopefully, force towards good in the galaxy. You had mentioned also the idea that you know the people on the Death Star were just sitting there doing their jobs. Their jobs were terrorizing people, and it sounded like these are space Nazis. These are these are the guys that were only following orders. At this, like, if they passed through the Nuremberg trial, that would have been their defense. We were following orders. So is it human centric? Yes, at least the Skywalker storyline. But there are so many other storylines besides Skywalker's. Um, there's so much in the so much tapestry. Good grief! Not just from episode four, but from the films, the TV series, the, um, the animated series. There's a lot going on there that's not Skywalker related, and that highlights the diversity of the universe, or rather of that galaxy, far far away. But anyway, there we are, sir.
Okay. So you're comparing them with the Nazis, which
Yes.
is a valid comparison, as that is something that has come up multiple times in the past. And you're talking about them just doing their jobs as being people who are going to show up in the Nuremberg trial saying, I just do what I was told. The problem is, many people on that Death Star would have had absolutely nothing to do with what was going on, other than you're going to have people who are cleaning, you're going to have people who are doctors, people who are just maintenance.
These are all droid activities. Sorry, just a point of order.
Wow.
Sorry, please forgive me. I am turning into a politician.
It's
As
not your
Obi-Wan
turn.
said,
Please, please obey the rules. It's not your turn.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Just remember, he just opened himself up to that. So, there are people in there that are doing their daily jobs who have nothing to do with what Vader and his crew, who are scared of this force, this imaginary force of evil, which they are. I will admit to that. But it's not the same as, say, you're trying to compare them to the Nazis back at the Holocaust. That's not the same as guards at a death camp who are actively involved in what's going on there. These are just people that are trying to live their lives. What about the families of people who were on that station? Do you know that there were not families on there as well who would have had nothing to do with this except being there with their family member? They were just massacred for no reason. So, we don't know about that. These are stories you don't know about. Same with many of the stories you've mentioned in there about the people who are on this Jedi Council and such. We don't know their stories. We don't really know, other than Yoda, much of the stories of the other people that were on there. This was pretty much a story of a bunch of humans who were saving the day. Where are stories of the other heroes? Why aren't there heroes coming from other planets other than a Wookiee to help save the day? Yes, you had your... Now I forget what they were called. The teddy bears who helped... Ewoks, thank you. We had the Ewoks who were helpful because they were on their planet. But you didn't have... Look at all of the alien races that you would see in the bars. So if you're watching that, it would have you believe that, okay, it's the humans who are organizing this effort to help save the galaxy, and the other races don't care. They're off getting drunk in a bar. That's rather, dare I say, racist. But you don't see that in Star Trek. In Star Trek, you see all of these races. You see them all joining together as part of the Federation, if they're not enemies of the Federation, as opposed to just a bunch of humans just trying to toot their own horn. Anyway, but again, it's something based on reality versus something based on Dungeons and Dragons in space. That is the end of my rebut. So now I get my points. Excuse me. I'm just taking a moment to... I'm going to get a quick drink here.
Well. Oh, I thought you were actually going to get a quick drink. Gotcha. Okay. Well,
yeah, I was just going to leave you hung out to dry.
See? Hey. So, okay.
Okay. So.
Goodness gracious.
Now I get my points, and then you get your rebuttal,
Okay,
and then you'll make your closing, and I'll make my closing.
gotcha.
Okay, Star Trek. Let's think about what you see in Star Trek. We've been talking about the space Dungeons and Dragons and the mystical space powers for long enough. You see races coming together as part of the Federation to explore. They're out there exploring, yes, running into situations and scenarios against some enemies, against some who aren't necessarily enemies but think they might be a threat. And it's all about diplomacy or tactics. It's about real life. It's not about let me evoke some fantasy power to come save the day. It's not fiction and fantasy. It is science fiction, but based on what we have the tools to do in our brains and in our minds, what we can do moving forward. Look at how many people have looked at Star Trek, seen technology on there, and now we start seeing some of that which isn't so far fetched. Dare I say, communicator, anyone? I don't see anyone running around with some space sword with some mystical light that will act as a laser to destroy and kill people. But I do see every day people using their own version of a communicator. And I know there's other aspects of the show that have led to other discoveries. Things that are out there now because someone watched Star Trek and got inspired. I dare you to name one person who invented something because they watched Star Wars and was inspired, other than a marketing toy. A real life piece of technology that can actually help improve this world, not reinforcing people's beliefs that some hidden mystical force is going to save the day, but letting them know that you, everyone out there watching, you have the ability and the brains to make something happen. You don't have to rely on some Jedi Council and their mystical, magical force to save you. You can do it. You can stand on your own 2 feet. My friend over there mentioned hope as part of something Star Wars offers. I think this is hope. Knowing that it's something you can do. That is hope. Not, oh dear Jedi, please save me. That's not hope. That's desperation. If you want hope, you turn to Star Trek. You turn to what can be achieved. What can we achieve? What can we achieve if we work together? If we go out and explore, what can we find? Not just what magical force will allow us to do or not allow us to do. What can we create on our own to be able to move into the future? And that is what Star Trek is about. It's not a mystical time far, far away long, long ago. It's not looking in the rearview mirror, it's looking forward. It is the future, and that is what we're looking for. And one last thing, Tribbles. I rest my case.
Excellent point, sir. My turn?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
I turned off my mic so it wouldn't you wouldn't hear anything while you were going.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good. Um, so lo and behold, a couple of little things. Um, you mentioned D&D like it's a bad thing, and I promise you, storytelling and stories that include dragons and sometimes magical forces are not a bad thing. They are a source of wonder, a source of dreaming. And there are those who are inspired by that thing called imagination and hope. What I mean is this: you had mentioned the idea that there's no real technology that has been inspired by this, and I have to say that is not true. Star Wars inspired. Let's go even with the four, episode four. That inspired not only writers but model makers. And then let's go past the original trilogy and let's go to the prequel trilogy. And by then, Industrial Light and Magic, which was formed by George Lucas, was first generation people and dreamers that were influenced by the wonder of Star Wars to create very real world technologies and to make computer generated graphics. They made Jurassic Park. And from Jurassic Park,
Like the
that.
holodeck? Sorry, I wanted to use
Hey,
my one interruption there.
okay, fair enough. I'll let it slide. So, the, and going from Jurassic Park to the Phantom Menace, and then it catches on and changes everything. Don't get me wrong, I love practical effects. I do. But these days, it's hard to find a model maker because it's basically computer generated. Because we've developed the technology, the very real world technology, to take our imagination, make it real right there on the silver screen. Where will that take us next? That could take us anywhere. That could take us anywhere. Suppose one of these Martian rovers someday has a way of sending back visual holographic means, much like a holocron in Star Wars. Um, hey, if it inspires somebody, we've seen that the human condition, we want to make things better. And that's why Star Wars speaks to us. It's that hope. It's that idea that we can overcome vast odds. If the world and the galaxy is against you, you might have a shot if you find the right people with the right motivations. That's a powerful message that you, the common man, can make a difference. Let's see here. Um, Please forgive me, I'm looking over my notes. So I'd like to just reiterate once more that stories do make the world go round. And there's lots of stories when it comes to Star Wars. It's not simply what you immediately go to. There's there's a rich kind of history when it comes to this. Um, there's the Clone Wars. There's Rebels. There's the Mandalorian, which is awesome. Rogue One, which fits nicely between episodes 4 and 5. There's the original trilogy, the sequel trilogy, the prequel trilogy. Then there's the books. There's the comics. There's some great work out there. And it reflects a universe that is not simply human. Um, it I would also say, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in Return of the Jedi, episode 6, the person who blows up the second Death Star is Nine Numb, the gunner on the Millennium Falcon. And that's pretty cool. Just saying. Anyway, um, all I can say is that Star Wars has inspired generations of people, generations of creative individuals. Um, it's made me want to tell stories, and the Force is still with us, and may it be with you. Thank you. I close my arguments.
Okay, so that was your rebuttal on your closing argument?
Oh, shit.
That's why I wasn't sure if you would transition
So
from one to the next.
Okay. Okay. I unclose this argument. Oops.
No worries.
Yeah, no, actually, yes. Well, no, I'm not going to yield my closing argument. Because, of course, it'll probably be like shaving a haircut, 2 bits.
Well, this would be the time for your closing argument, so.
Oh. May the Force be with you. I close my arguments. Shit.
Okay. My friend has said a lot over there. It's all about storytelling.
Yeah.
Which I don't disagree with. Storytelling is good. You get a lot of storytelling from Star Wars. He's trying to claim Star Wars has some sort of effect on creating or on people wanting to create these new CGI and amazing worlds that get created. Dare I say Avatar or something like that. But you're forgetting where that technology originated. As I said in my one little interruption, holodeck. That is the original seed of those ideas. Being able to walk into a holodeck and have an entire world created around you. That is inspiration for the current creators that are out there. Now, I hope that's just an issue with my headphones. I'm hearing popping. You're hearing it as well?
Yes, but just a little.
Okay. I apologize. Let me see. Let me make some adjustments here. See if that helps any. Anyway. Obviously, Star Wars is great for storytelling. But what really has inspired is knowing that people can go out to explore the stars, find other races, be able to develop bonds with some other races. And knowing that that has allowed people to be inspired here in real life to create something and things that will help better our planet and our people. You don't get that from Star Wars. You get that from Star Trek. Picard could probably outthink any of those supposed military generals in Star Wars. And he would do it because he's outthinking, not because he had to rely on a mystical, magical force. It doesn't teach you that you, the little person, can help change the world. It teaches that you can be there to watch someone who has this mystical power, dare I say, who is better than you, actually save the world. Whereas Star Trek shows you that you can use your mind and make a difference. And with that, I'll say it again, Tribbles, I rest my case. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Now, everyone out there,
Yes.
let us know. Man, I hope my mic is not going on me.
Oh gosh, it's relatively new. Of course, you use it a lot.
Yeah, hopefully it's not. Oh, I'm sitting here tapping it. Sorry. Everybody want to hear that? Let us know what you thought. Who do you think made the better argument? How badly did he beat me at this? I know.
No. We shall see. You have some very salient points. Although I do believe that story does make the world go round.
Please take a point away from him for that. We are done making our arguments here.
That's fair. You're right. Although
your time is up.
Tribbles, huh? Am I right?
So, thank you guys for joining us. Hope you made it this far.
God bless you if you have.
Hopefully, I can find out what's wrong with my mic here. And we will see you next time.
Yes.
As always, be good to each other.
Please.
Stay safe and healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your eyes to the sky, because you never know what you'll see, because you'll be looking forward to the future. See, I had to get mine in there too. Yours.
And your ears to the ground.
Take care, everybody.
And the force be with you.